Okay, guys, in this video, we are going to look at the x-intercept or the zeros from the graph, and then we also want to know what are the multiplicities for each of the zeros. Okay, so let me bring up the graph a little bit closer, and you can see that, first of all, from the graph, we can see that -1 is going to be one of the zeros. Now, we have to figure out what is degree or multiplicity this is going to be. So at -1, the graph does cross the x-axis, right? Because right here it's above and then right here is below. And the way it crosses it, it does not cross like a line, right? It crosses more like a cubic polynomial, right? And that kind of thing. So this looks like that will probably be degree 3 or could be 5, it depends. But if we know the total degree of our polynomial, we may be able to figure out whether it's 3 or 5 or whatever. But it's definitely going to be an odd, and it's not going to be 1. Okay, the next one is this one right here, which is a 0, and it looks like it just crosses, and it crosses like a line, right? So you can see that it just goes from being below to being above, but it's like that, right? Okay, so my drawing is not quite like a line, but something like that. Okay. Now, and there's one more. It's a little bit weird the way the software is not quite picking up that too, but it is there, okay? And so it's going to be like if you were to draw it correctly, it'll go like that, right? Something like that. So we definitely see that 2 is going to be another 0. And because it bounces or touches it, right? That tells you whenever you see something like this is going to be like a parabola, right? So this could be multiplicity 2, 4, 6, or something like that, right? So this will probably be 2. Okay, so with all my drawings, let's see if we can summarize this. So at -1, I think it was 3. And again, I think you should go from smallest to largest. See how they tell you that the degree is 6, which tells you that the sum of all the multiplicities must be 6. Okay, and then we had a 0, and that was a line, so it's like 1. Okay, and then finally we had a 2, and the multiplicity of that was 2. Now, how do I know it's 2? So I know from the graph that it's going to bounce. So it's 2, 4, 6. But since the total multiplicity must be 6, that has to be a 2. It cannot be 4, right? Okay, now we just have to write down the formulas. Okay, so how do we do that? So for each 0, make up a factor that will make that factor equals 0 at -1, okay? Oh my God. And that would be x plus 1, not minus 1, right? Because if you said x plus 1 equals 0, x would be -1, which is what you want. Okay, and then you raise it to the power multiplicity, so that's 3. Next, x minus 0. Well, x minus 0 you don't have to write, you just write x. To the power 1, you don't have to write that either, that's just going to be x. The next one is going to be x minus 2. Again, why minus is because if you set that factor equals 0, you will get 2 for your solution. So it's like the opposite, right? And we raise it to the power 2. Okay, so that looks like it's what we got.